Welcome to TradersArmy.com, defending your right to build wealth and preserve capital for generations to come.
Welcome everybody to the Daily Market Commentary. I am your host for today, joined by Dad, the co-host. If you are new to the channel, push the subscribe button. If you are not new, please leave a comment for the new people. I hope you're all having a great day.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Charlie, for our warm welcome today. Welcome, everybody. Hope you guys all had a great trading day yesterday. We're going to take a look at some reversals, some breakouts, and we're starting to get a little bit of weakness showing in the market. So we'll talk about that. So kicking it off first with the ES. So looking here at the ES, we can see yesterday I talked about a couple of levels, and we'll look at the NQ level that I looked at yesterday. But I didn't really have any levels that I was in love with, and we've kind of chopped around sideways a little bit. So on our 4-hour chart, we are still going up, right? We still have higher swing highs and higher swing lows. However, we know for certain that our momentum is waning. So our momentum is going down, meaning that on our momentum indicator, we see that prices are going which way here, Charlie?
Down.
Down.
Those kind of look like tents to me.
They do look a little bit like tents, but the tops of the tents keep getting shorter and shorter, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
So when we think about trends, that's a great way to think about trends, is to think about a tent, right? And if you think about the tents, the tops of the tents here are still getting what? Higher. But on down below, they were getting lower. So that's typically a sign of weakness. And what it means is that it's kind of like when you throw a ball up in the air. As you throw a ball up into the air,
It's not going to keep going up. It's just... gravity will pull it down.
right. You throw a ball up into the air, it slows down and eventually starts to come down. So a little bit concerned, well, not really concerned, but interested in these two tweezer tops. This is called a tweezer top, where you have two candlesticks that are, that have wicks that are right next to each other on the 4-hour chart. That's a pretty bearish signal. And this level here, which was a reversal, we're starting to base in front of, right? We got a little bit of basing here in front of this level. So a little concern with the quality of this level. If you wanted to get short, there's, this was the opportunity yesterday to get short, although I'd said that I'm a bigger fan of shorting the Nasdaq than I am the S&P, which we'll cover that in a moment. We're starting to see a little bit of a reversal. This is our 2 o'clock level was a little bit more bullish. And so with our 2 a.m. level starting to go up, I don't feel as strongly about it. So I still have this area down here for potential reversal. Your stop has to be below this area here. So that level in the ES, now yesterday we looked at an NQ reversal level. Now if you notice that NQ reversal level that I talked about yesterday, we made it a confirmation style entry, which means price has to come halfway into the level, and then we get short as it comes out of the level. Now I'm going to look at it on a smaller time period so you can see. Price came into the level, but it did not go halfway into the level before breaking through, which invalidates that trade, right? Makes that trade invalid. However, I'm going to leave this level on today. And the reason I'm leaving the level on for just a few minutes is I want to see if we get a reversal back out of this level. Oftentimes, those old levels of demand will become new levels of supply and vice versa. So I can look for a little bit of a reversal coming out of this zone. So if you're so inclined, I think that you might get an opportunity for a reversal in here, or you could look to trade somewhat of a breakdown, right? If you wanted to trade a breakdown into this area down here, looking at just drawing one blue line right down here at this bottom, that would make this bottom would be our floor, right, Charlie?
Right.
And when we draw a floor, if it breaks through the floor, what do we think it's going to keep doing?
Going down. Excuse me. Going down until it hits a new floor.
Right. Goes down until it hits a new floor. Now, this area down here is the origin of a move up. And since we have two lines together, that would be the base of a what?
Mountain.
Right. At the base of a mountain is where we think it'll start to go back which way?
Up.
Go back up. So this area here between 70.77 and 70.43, let's call it 70.77 to 70.47.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
It's about 30 points from 70.77 to 70.47 that I think if we could get a breakdown. Now, I'd need to see some basing before this level, but that would be the breakdown level that to me is the best probability.
Right. Okay.
All right, so let's take a look next at our crude oil level. Now, our crude oil level we talked about yesterday had met entry and was continuing to march higher. So if you're still in that crude oil level, do me a favor, leave a comment down below. My anticipation, however, was that we were going to make it back up to about 57, and that march is still happening. Still looks like it's getting to that region. Now, I'm going to remove this level since it doesn't look like we can use that area again going forward. However, I do like this new level that we put in today as we've had the origin of this move higher. Now, part of the reason that I like this area for a potential reversal is the time of day that it occurred. We're looking here at a time of day, and I'm actually going to wrap it around both of those areas there. That's really the better level. But it's it's right there at the European market open, and we see a pretty nice move up. Theoretically, when I look at the 4-hour chart, I could potentially go for a reversal here, but I don't think that's the wisest of moves. And so I'm going to stick to the long coming up out of it. Now, in gold, we can see that we have a clear price action right there.
Wow, that's a big mountain.
That's a big mountain all the way down here. But in order to get to the mountain, price has to keep going which way?
Up.
Well, once we hit the bottom of the mountain, it'll go up. But to get to that mountain, it has to go which way?
Down.
It's got to go down. Now, if you notice here, what shape are we forming there, Charlie? 3 sides.
Triangle.
Triangle. So oftentimes with triangle patterns, we'll see a breakout one way or the other. And I think that we could see a breakdown. I would be a little cautious of this 15-minute level if we break out to the downside. This may be a good first profit target, but I'm not so sure it's a good opportunity to go long anymore. Looking at our bonds and our currencies, bond markets, we had our breakout in the ZN, and then we've started to rally up. I think that this actually is maybe one of our best breakouts of the day is this area up in here. If we can get pop above that level, especially if we see weakness in the S&P in general. In the Aussie, we're still between our levels of demand and supply, although I see a decent reversal potential right here. And then price could come all the way back down here to this gap fill region. So keep an eye on that one. In the euro, we did break out above this level. Talked about the potential for a reversal in this zone up above us. We got a little bit of a pullback down from it, and then we had a gap down, and then we've come back up into it and dropping down a second time. So what I'm now going to do is remove both of these. If you took the short on that level, great, awesome. Move your stop to break even because we got our 6 candle rule in place. And if it hasn't moved in 6 candles, we just don't feel as strongly about it. But if you're still in it, allow it to run and keep going. So, and then in our Canadian dollar level, yesterday I thought that we might actually hit one of these zones and give a quick reversal, but we actually popped right up through. So there's nothing on here on the Canadian dollar that I want to add at this moment. Off the top of my head, this little area here that was formed last night is okay. Looks very similar to what was done in crude oil. So I'd rather just take the trade in crude oil. Last but certainly not least is the Great British Pound.
Japanese yen?
Yep, Great British Pound and the Japanese yen. So on our Great British Pound, we see that we had our breakout above the ceiling. And then once we got above the ceiling, yesterday we talked about it's time to take your stop and move it up underneath this area so that you've locked in at least a little bit of profit. So we continue to rally up, we dropped back, and boom, we've popped up again. So if you're still in that Great British Pound trade, let me know. Take your stop now. At this point, what I would do is move my stop up to below this area of demand here to allow price to continue to run. So that British Pound trade's working out very nicely. Japanese yen, we had our breakdown which then the idea was take your stop and move it to break even, because we broke down and then it was more than 6 candles before we saw any price action. So 6 candle rule coming into play again. Now, that means that for today, I think we could be on the lookout for reversals, of the bigger picture, but not quite yet. The market hasn't confirmed it yet because my 4-hour is still giving me higher highs and higher lows. Until I get a lower high and a lower low, then I'm still technically a buyer. Now, I do have a lower low here, a lower high with this tweezer top. If you get below this region, then all of a sudden, all things change, and I could look to take more selling opportunities. So I'm going to be patient, err on the side of caution, and take the trades as they're more highly probable heading into what has been a pretty strong, pretty bullish market. So keeping that in mind. But I hope you guys all have an absolutely great day. Charlie, thanks for coming on the show with us today. And I will see you all soon. Bye-bye.
And don't forget, if you are new to the channel, push the subscribe button down below. That red button that says SUBSUIBE.
Subscribe. See you. Have a good day.